Evening. Groucho Marx once famously said, I refuse to be part of any club that will have me as a member. And I usually say that to anybody who calls me to be part of any quorum, saying, why would you possibly want me on the stage? This self-deprecation comes from being an actor, and because actors are always shortchanged when it comes to being given benefit of doubt for intelligence, eloquence, for saying anything that makes any sense without taking any money, and for actually being seriously concerned about the state of the country that they grew up in and would probably want to live in for the rest of their lives. So when Karuna called me and said that she wanted me to be a part of this quorum, I said, okay, let's give it one more shot. Another shot at being taken seriously, another shot at maybe being respected, maybe in retrospect at the end of a 10-minute speech that might amount to something. So I decided that I played safe and not really prepare a speech because I figured I was up against some serious opposition, as Ruben rightly pointed out. It's very difficult to follow JP, I think even in a milk line. I mean, forget on a stage how we're giving speeches, because I just think the personality that he brings in has so much honesty, courage, sincerity, that every time he speaks, I forget why I even was there in the first place. And I love listening to this man speak, and I'm going to actually come back to him hopefully at the end of this speech if I can find said structure. I'm roughly going to talk about, let's say, three things. Okay, I'm going to make these three things as we go along, but I think they will make sense in retrospect, or you'll have to just, humor me. The first thing is about the generation that we live in. And I don't define generation by age, I define generation by time. So I would say in the year 2009, all of you are in the exact same generation as far as I'm concerned. This is a generation that I recognize as one that frequently, if not always, uses the four-letter word completely in and out of context for every single issue that comes up in their popular consciousness. So we abuse, we crib, we yell, and we get really riled up about issues, and then about 5 minutes later we forget and we move on. So this for me is the biggest problem of the generation that I live in. Classic case in point is the terrorist attacks in Bombay. The shameless Indian media did its best to be shameless, which is what it does best, and took us on a circus journey of 3 days. Some of it before, some of it during, and some of it after the horrible tragedy that happened to Bombay. And at the end of it, a month later, for the month that passed, something interesting happened, but a month later, when I was in Bombay at 3 o'clock in the morning having anda burji and pav in the middle of the road, I just said to my friend who was eating next to me that, dude, they've forgotten, yeah. Everybody's forgotten. And it was in every Mumbaiker's face. And they pride themselves on being able to go to work the morning after a bomb blast, and they have posters that say Salam Mumbai. But for me, it just screams that they forgot. And there's nothing that you can do about that kind of forgetfulness. But this is a forum that I believe that kind of forgetfulness needs to be addressed. As a filmmaker, as an actor, I see this generation sitting in a theater, and if there's more than 10 seconds of silence, they're on the phone. If there's more than 10 seconds of silence, they start having a conversation with the guy about what happened in the cricket match. In a closed, dark theater where you're sitting with a focused effort to watch a film. This generation has an attention span of a small rodent. So then this issue needs to be addressed. If you guys, I love JP's quote about buying, selling inferior and superior men as far as Confucius is concerned. But I believe if we are the policymakers of this country, we need to identify this attention span problem and assault these buggers with the problem and the possible solutions. And by these buggers, I mean all of us. I feel that we need to constantly be assaulted with what the problems are. If Madhukar, Ruben, Gopi and JP can make us feel so damn, riled up about all that is wrong and all that is concerned and all that needs to be addressed, then I think the people of this country that are not in this convention center need to be assaulted with this quality of presentation, this quality of intellect. And I think that's something that I would really like to address in the question answer about how to capture, wow man, a cell phone, really? It's a shame. It is about addressing this lack of attention span. And how do we actually manage to sell progress to this country, because you're going to have to market it. You're going to have to make it have great cleavage, and it's going to have to look good. So you're going to have to sell progress to this generation. The solutions will not just happen, they need to be shoved down everyone's throat. I think roughly the second thing that I'm going to talk about, in which case, is individual empowerment. After the recent Andhra Pradesh floods, as soon as I got back to Hyderabad, I went on a little journey to meet our Chief Minister, Mr. Roshaya, in order to give him what I thought was a decent token amount of 5 lakhs to whatever end it might serve purpose. No, please don't. I'll tell you why you should not clap for that, especially that one fan of mine who just did. When I went on this journey to meet the Chief Minister, a fantastic analogy was ringing in my head. I remember going to a hospital for a complete medical checkup, where a bunch of doctors, thanks to my celebrity status, walked me through floor after floor of medical checkups. So 1 second I was on an ECG cardiogram running on a treadmill, 1 second I had an endoscopy, somebody was shoving something down my throat. Now the whole experience made me feel in that hospital that this is something that's happening completely out of my control, and there's nothing that I can do about this tube that has just been shoved down my throat. I felt very similarly when I went to meet the Chief Minister of the state. I was walked in like a guinea pig. They came, all the security personnel, all the secretaries, assistants took pictures with me. Then I was taken in to see him. He took roughly 50 seconds to get up from his chair, purely owing to age. And when he got up, all he wanted to do was hold my check and take a picture. I was speaking to him, he wasn't listening. He went and sat down and they threw me out of the room. Now, if I wanted to take a picture with the Chief Minister of the state, I would have done it on Photoshop. The reason I went to meet the Chief Minister was that I'm a 30-year-old educated actor who has some reach, at least 10 people will recognize me on the streets. Can I please be part of something that will generate some money, some interest towards the floods in AP? And I got a picture taken. And this made me ask only one question. If a celebrity who wants to do something for the state of Andhra Pradesh can't do squat, what does a common man stand chance of doing? And first of all, why would he even want to? Where is the word philanthropy needs to be used extremely in context here, because individual empowerment means, to me, JP, individual empowerment, power to the people is a great way, but I don't think we're a very smart voting country. So, and I think there are morons in every single political party, and I think the stench of dynastic politics is going to kill this country. But let's talk about empowerment and hence power to the people, that every individual who genuinely wants to make a difference should be able to. I'd like some ideas to come up about just particularly this Andhra Pradesh floods, the horrible, unprecedented floods. They say if these floods had happened 200 years ago, each individual affected by it would have taken 70 years to come back to his normal self. 70 years to come back to his normal self. When it rains and your power cut happens, you go to Cinemax and watch a film till the power comes back. We're talking about people who lost their whole life in one day, and we can't do anything about it. So for me, individual empowerment has to be about what avenues, what vistas, what windows need to be opened for a common Joe to actually make a difference. And how can he actually make a difference? Let's not keep it vague, let's keep it specific to the relief work that's happening in many, many villages and zillas of Andhra Pradesh. Roughly the third thing I wanted to talk to you about probably would be about this panel, and why I said I'll bring up JP and Gopi once again. We as a country, yes, are self-congratulatory. We love calling people world famous in India. One singular achievement defines 50 years of progress. It will be forgotten in the morning. On this panel, I see Gopi, and every human being has a yin and yang in terms of both his internal process and what society throws at him. I love that guy, and I've loved him from way before, I mean, he was even that famous, because we as college students used to follow the alternatives because we were the rebels. We won't watch cricket. We will watch kabaddi. And so we used to do all of that. And the radar was always on this young guy who was really, bringing in the gold. And when he won the All Englands, oh my God, we drank so much that night. But the same Gopi, at some point in his life will stand in a queue and somebody will come and congratulate somebody who's played one IPL match standing in front of him. This is that country. And then there's JP. JP is a god. He's an oratorical god. He's somebody who genuinely means everything he says about change, about progress, about development. You've seen him when he campaigns for his elections. You've seen him as a member of the assembly. You've seen that he's fighting so many morons every day that you have to sympathize with this man for being so intelligent and yet having to do this. This is the same JP who has to live under that horrible word every day, politician. That's his yang. I think Madhukar and Ruben probably, I'd have to make a joke about it, that their in-laws probably say, don't you guys, need to get real jobs? It's probably, how I would bring the yang element in their life. And, I'm an actor. Dude, I'm, at any given point of time, a bar dancer / prostitute. That's the way my whole life and my moral system and my belief in anything good is concerned. I faced all of it, trust me. And the reason I bring all of this up is that this is a really great country for one reason, that you hear the greatest stories about why people do what they do in this country. And when I was like 14 years old, my dad asked me, what do I want to do? I said, I want to be in films and I want to be a fast bowler. And he said, dude, nobody's ever done that before. He said, yeah, until now. So I always believed from a young age that I never believed in role models because nobody's actually done what I can do. That was the belief at the age of 14. So, I still believe that. I believe every individual is unique, and this is a country that, the country that I was born in nurtured dreams. I don't see that nurturing of dreams happening anymore. And I think these kind of panels really, I said in the beginning of this discussion that Groucho Marx said, any club that has me as a member, I don't want to be a part of. But today I found new respect for myself because I'm standing next to these guys and I realized, hold on. Everybody has a purpose. And it's about identifying that purpose and taking it to the next level. And when we look at the policy makers, and JP, as usual, beautifully said this is an incestuous, forum building country where we keep running into the same 50 faces everywhere. The problem is that in these 50 faces, we are guest lecturers. JP is a regular soldier, but we don't actually get to be part of the policy making process. So I would believe that as a country that encourages dreams and that's made it possible for different people from different walks of life to do exactly what it is that they thought they were created for,